Hi, I'm Etty, your wine curator here at Plonk Wine Club, and I wanted to give you a bit of a sneak preview as to what you guys are all about to receive in your March shipments. So the first wine I wanted to tell you about comes from the region of Portugal. Now, I love this wine because it actually hails from quite an unknown region called Bairrada. Now, you might have seen wines from the Douro or the Dow region. This wine actually features a very unique indigenous grape called Baga that hails from Bairrada, so it's quite a hidden gem. So this wine is actually a blend of two grapes, Baga, as I mentioned, and then Touriga Nacional, which is quite a popular Portuguese blending grape that you'll see in the Douro and then in other regions throughout Portugal. This is made by a fabulous boutique producer called Quinta das Figueiras that does everything quite naturally. And what I really love about this wine is that it has this great sort of zesty hibiscus and pomegranate fruit. It's so bright and acid. It's really refreshing, shows really beautiful, finely grained tannins, and it's just such a great find from this very obscure area. Now the next red I wanted to tell you about comes from the Languedoc in France. It's made by a winery called Elizabeth and Francois Jourdain. And what I really liked about this wine is that it features a grape that doesn't usually get featured as a single varietal wine. So this wine is made of 100% Cinsault. Now Cinsault is a grape that's typically treated as a blending grape. So you'll see it in the Rhône and the Languedoc blended with other grapes like Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Carignan, things like that. But very rarely do you see Cinsault sort of put center stage and featured as a single varietal wine. Now this wine sort of reads interestingly like a Pinot Noir, sort of light to medium bodied. It's very floral and very delicate. It's just such a pretty wine. You'll see a lot of rose and lilac aromas, fresh raspberry fruit. It's just such a cool find from the Languedoc. And then moving on to the whites, we have a very unique wine from the Hunter Valley in Australia, and this wine is made of 100% Semillon. Now, Semillon is usually used as a blending grape in the white wines of Bordeaux in France, but it's taken hold in the Hunter Valley in Australia, and what I really, really like about this variety and sort of how it expresses itself in this region is that it's a very age-worthy wine. So typically with fresh, unoaked whites, you want to drink them very young. Now, Semillon from Hunter Valley is sort of an interesting exception. This wine is wonderful on its own, very fresh, new vintages, but it also has a very long shelf life and a lot of longevity built into it. So you can actually stash this wine away for, say, 5 to 10 years, and it will really, really age beautifully. So you'll see, if you want to try it in its sort of fresh stage, you'll see a lot of beautiful citrus fruit, lemongrass, lily aromas, seashell. It's a really bright, sort of lean, racy wine. And then if you want to give it a little bit of time in your cellar, you'll see some sort of secondary aromas develop, sort of like you do with Riesling. So hopefully you'll enjoy these really unique and interesting wines from all over the world for March, and we will see you next month.